Mental chaos. Now, your mental, your mind, is your man, your masculine. And of course, what goes in inside there is what's creating. And of course, the creation is you. The creator is you. So, whatever you're pretty much putting into that box, that magic box, that's what you're pretty much mixing with all ingredients. And of course, if you do not have the right ingredients inside of your mind, we call this volcanic eruption, destruction. And of course, this is all spectrums in life. See, your mind is very important. You're not the mind, but you're inside of your mind. And of course, once you're inside of something, you're creating something. Just like how your solo soul is inside of your body and you are not the body, that means you're pretty much in control of what's going on inside of you. And if you don't know what's going on inside of you, you will look outside of you to see what's going on inside of you. And this world has been set it up for you to basically put yourself in that predicament and criteria to repeat the process, which means that you don't have no common sense about yourself. You only got common sense about looking at shit in front of you. And of course, once you get lost into what's in front of you, things inside of you, you neglect. And once you keep neglecting something, then you put yourself in a position of not allowing what you're neglecting to help your ass. It's going to go to sleep. It's just going to keep sleeping in a messy ass room. Bottles all over the place. Clothes all over the motherfucking place. Shit is just nasty, filthy, and dirty. And this is what you call a person with a mental, chaotic mind. Their mind is not clear enough for them to basically see their rights and wrongs that they got going on and they surrounding and of course their environment. And of course, when you associate yourself with an individual like this, you play the possible forecast to achieve what you're looking at, paying attention to, their experiences. And once you put their experiences into your magic box, this is mixing with shit that you already got planned and have shit set it up. Because now your eyes, which is the key to the soul, is being penetrated towards shit, other shit, bullshit. And of course, all that elephant shit is not going to go to waste. It's going to be consumed. Because whatever you're consuming or paying attention to, these things is going inside of you and creating. You ever pick up a certain vibe when you walked somewhere or pretty much went inside of a room? Remember, you went inside that fucking room. Before you went inside of that room, you was not feeling like that. But the moment you put yourself in that room, you're feeling like that. Why? Because people that was in that room were pretty much playing out the same characteristics of how you're feeling right now. People that was watching that TV, that television show, are feeling the same way. And of course, they putting that shit into a portal. And what makes you think that portals don't exist? Portals do exist. If a portal never existed, then of course you wouldn't be feeling like how you're feeling when you're paying attention to some bullshit. So now that bullshit is inside of you. You are being digested by that bullshit. And of course, that shit went inside of your world. Now, of course, everybody is, quote unquote, having the same disease right now. The same mental disease. Because they was consumed by the same bullshit. And of course, they didn't play resistant mode. They didn't say, by the way, I don't like this idea. I don't like this way I'm feeling right now. I'm not going to continue to pretty much put myself into this position. You motherfuckers get too lazy with situations. And of course, too comfortable with allowing shit to basically play out into your world and your point of view. And of course, your point always going to have a view. Because of course, it's like the circumference. So now if shit is a circumference, however you go, is how the energy flow. Where attention goes, energy flows. So remember, that point is always going to follow you. That point is always going to have a charge. That point is always going to have a direction where it can pretty much pinpoint into locations. And of course, wherever you're locating at, wherever you're searching for, these things are going to always gravitate towards outside of you. Especially if you didn't create that shit. And that's the whole purpose of creating your own shit, creating your own mind. Because of course, you are in a situation of repeating the experiences that you did or had previously in your life. So all that big ass baggage, that mental baggage, that mental situation, it gets deprived in this world that you're in right now. And depending on what certain areas or certain bodies that was being categorized way too much, these things get burned out almost to the point that when you die, you didn't clear these things out. So of course, you're carrying that vibe with you. You're carrying that vortex with you. And of course, every motherfucking issue got a tissue, got a action, got a reaction. So of course, these actions and reactions are being charged up into a new life, a new way. And of course, you think this new life and new way is going to pretty much benefit you in a certain way. These things is going to get even tougher because of course, you was a sucker your past life. You didn't take care of situations right away. You allow situations to build up and accumulate. And when shit build up and accumulate, things get out of control. That's like a child that loves to play with toys. Don't know which toy he want to play with or she want to play with after a while. These toys can pretty much be all over the goddamn place. And of course, that's how it plays out with you if you have a mental case. And of course, a mental case means you're building cases. You're building guilt programs. You're building situations that shouldn't even be basically being fed to your mind. And of course, you are what you eat. So whatever you eat mentally, you're going to digest it inside of you. And it's going to play out physically. And of course, all the emotions going to pretty much fuck with it. They're going to be like, okay, what's this right here? Let's eat this shit. It's being fed. Mom and dad feeding us. AKA, you the body of this shit. You the mom and the dad right now. These beings and these kids is living inside of you. And these beings and kids living inside of them too. Because of course, whatever they eat, they going to eat inside of them. And of course, that's how they create and grow. And of course, what are you feeding your mind? Real shit or bullshit? You got to pick and choose. There's always a level where you got to maintain the balance. Maintain the chairs. Maintain the weights. And of course, things get very heavy. And if you're not penetrating or setting up shop properly, then your bricks and your blocks gonna get knocked down. And when shit get knocked down, that means you was too high. But of course, you came back down. You came back to low. You came back to time frame. And of course, this puts you in situations where now you got to start building again. Now you got to start building how you can penetrate and go up in time. Because of course, we're always building. We're always trying to create a new vibe or a new wave where we can pretty much seek bigger and better in life. But these vibes and waves can always put you in good scenarios or bad scenarios because you could be thinking about these things and seeing how these shit's going to play out. You just need to play out and ride that current and just be in the vibe. That's it. That's all. Over stressing about things to see if these things is coming today or the next second or the next minute is not how you pretty much play shit out. Things happen mysteriously. It's like how you discover you're sick the next day mysteriously. Your ass was sick, you woke up sick. So remember, you can wake up to good days or you can wake up to bad days. Either way, you're going to experience some shit. And that's just how the energy play out. And remember, energy is never destroyed, but it's going to be reciprocated to somebody. And every day, certain people got to test some shit. Sometimes, some people can't handle some shit. So, we're going to see who else can handle this shit. We're going to see if this person can have a good day with all the shit he got or a bad day with all the shit he got. And of course, we may have to pretty much subtract some shit if he can't handle this goddamn day. And of course, if you can't handle that goddamn day, then of course, the shits you accumulated and combinated may not even be able to handle things in your persuade. So you got to be careful about shit at times. You got to really put yourself into situations of always being prepared, and ready to basically shift to a higher gear, shift to a new gear. Can't always drive Daisy every fucking day. Sometimes you got to pick up the pace. Sometimes you got to get anorexic with motherfuckers. Sometimes you got to basically attack and penetrate situations on a higher gratitude. And of course, there's a new level for every new situation that you're pretty much fighting through. But of course, there's going to be some days where you could get thrown off task. And there's going to be days where you're not going to allow these things to throw you off task. But never fall off task, especially if you attacking a purpose. And if that purpose wanted to be fulfilled, there has to be attack. Attention has to be put to it. And of course, this is like a child. So that child has to be nurtured. That child has to be cared for. That child has to be safe and protected. And remember, whatever you trying to manifest, everything in life is a bee to you. So treat it like a bee, or a bee gonna come sting you because you wasn't ready for this shit. You wasn't prepared for this shit. You wasn't determined for this shit. You just sat on your ass. You thought about it. You were like, yo, it feel real good to have this situation to play out in my life. But of course, you wasn't ready to basically go to the trials and tribulations of other individuals that went through that path. Other individuals that went through that situation. Other individuals that basically burned bridges with situations that played out where it was too heavy for them to basically not be able to actually combobulate these things that they got going on simultaneously. So, remember, it's going to always be some shit coming at you from left, right, north, south, in, and out. But you got to always have a shield. And you got to always be ready to kill. Because if you ain't ready to have a killing technique or a killing idea, then your plan A, plan B, plan C is going to keep expanding. Almost to the point you ain't going to have no more plans. You wasn't ready for this shit, man. You allowed this shit to outweigh you. And when you allow shit to outweigh you, this is how things in life can be a learning process for you. This way you won't repeat the same situations again. You can be outsmarted. You can outsmart the situation. Try a new income. Try a new destination. Because of course, if there's a way, there's a will. And if there's a left, there's a right. If there's a up, there's a down. If there's an in, there's an out. And remember, you always got to know the ins and outs in life. But always remember, it's always great to start from the beginning to the middle to the end. And not start from the middle to the end. Because remember, you need the experience. You need the voltage. You need them guns. You need a certain tool to have with you to be ready for shit that play out into your life. So if you just basically jump the gun and wanted to basically skip certain shit, you're not going to basically know how shit starts from beginning to end. Why? Because you're not in a situation of experiencing that shit. You don't have the experience. You just have a protocol that you pretty much picked up with. And of course, it's cool to have certain protocols and certain things that matter. But if you didn't start from the beginning, then how the fuck are you going to even have the full totality of something that plays out in general like that? Feel me? That's like coming here 10 years old or some shit and knowing certain. That'll never be the case. Yeah, you may know some shit, but it may take time for you to basically add on. Certain shit you got to inject inside of you, aka eat. Certain ways you got to build yourself up. Certain ways you got to grow, feel me? You don't just come into this world speaking, talking, knowing everything and shit. No, it starts from the beginning where you're small and then you expand. So that puts you into situations of the experience that you need to dwell onto certain shit. And yeah, that's how it play out. But yeah, 10 times out of 10, individuals with mental diseases, the wrong shit is on your fucking mind. Clear that shit. Why are you even thinking like? Who have you thinking like that? Always question why you're thinking like that. Because you may be thinking too much. You may be very confused. You may be out of tech with your life. And of course, you may be basically overexhausting yourself. Ever put yourself into a situation where you want to get right, but the situation is not happening? Because you've been using way too much energy in one area. And of course, when you put too much heavy emphasis on one thing and you rely too much on this shit, it's too much light on that shit. And when too much light get there, it burns and shit get pretty much detached and deteriorated. Learn how to cool off. Relax sometimes. Sit back, take a chill pill, and you won't be in a situation of having a mental crutch where your mind is fucked up. And of course, you got a cast on your mind. Now your head is fucked up. You can't think well. Now you all just out of attack, out of whack. So yeah, be very careful what's on your fucking mind. Because even the bullshit on your mind can give you a mental virus or a mental disease. Even dumb shit you're thinking about can give you a mental disease and mental virus. People you associate yourself with in certain conversations can fuck your head up. So be very careful.